stay on my line. You
Yeah, I'm getting fatty, yeah. Now she finally ready to fuck with the kid, no. Yeah, she just a dub. I'm up in the club, my team going up. Now she showing love. She fucking with Keem, but I really hope that she fuck with my team, cause I got a dream. She can't interfere, she can't interfere.
Hey, what's up guys, 720 Jacob here, and today I'm going to be telling it's actually a really funny story. It's from my past. It's actually the first time that I smoked weed. If you guys like this video, just feel free to subscribe and comment on the video, and don't forget to hit the notification bell because it really helps and it notifies you when I upload my videos. So let's get right into the story. So here's some backstory. I pretty much told my mom that I was going to go down to the YMCA in the other neighborhood to go play some basketball, but in reality I was actually going to go buy a VGOD mech mod. It was like an $80 VGOD from one of my friends, Caleb, that was going to sell it to me, and so I was just going to meet him at the YMCA. So I got to the YMCA and I'm just waiting for him to show up because he lived like two towns away from me, like a city away from me and shit. So I'm just waiting for him to show up. So I just got a basketball and I was waiting for like 30 minutes. He finally showed up, and I gave him the 80 bucks. I got the VGOD from him, and he just asked me if I wanted to smoke, and I'm like, yeah, I've never smoked before, but yeah, I'll try it. And so we walked down to the convenience store, which was like a 5-minute walk from the YMCA, and we got some snacks and some drinks and shit. And so we walked over to the apartments around the YMCA. There's a big apartment complex that's around the YMCA and around the convenience store. So we walked through the parking lot, and once we got to, so we went into like the stairways, like the stairwell for the apartments, and we sat down and he pulled out a joint roller. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I thought it was really cool because he just put the joint wrap in, put the bud in, and put like 1.5 grams, and he just like shook it or like pulled it, like the sides of it, and he just pulled out a rolled joint, and I'm like, all right, that works. And so he just licked it, sealed it shut, and so he sparked it up, and we start smoking, and he hands it to me. I took my first hit. I took like the smallest hit, and I just I'm just dying coughing, and he's just like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, it's my first time smoking, so like, I don't know, I'm just chilling. And he was like, yeah, so since it's your first time smoking, it's gonna be like harder for you to get high because your body's not used to it yet, so you have to like take a lot of THC to get high. And I'm like, okay. So we start smoking more. We smoked like 1.5 blunts, and I'm still not feeling it. And so we walked back to the convenience store, and while we're walking back, I'm like starting to feel it, like, but I'm just feeling like a little tipsy, like my body just feeling good, and I'm just like feeling like groovy. So we're just walking back to the convenience store, and I end up sitting on like, there's a stairwell right next to the convenience store, and there's like a little landing on it that like it doesn't have doors to apartments because he had to go up like another set of stairwells to get to the apartments. And so I'm sitting there, and right as I sit down, it just kicked in right as I sat down. So I'm like, hey bro, can you go give me a Sprite? I just gave him some cash, and he's like, yeah, I'll go get you a Sprite. So right as he walked down the stairs, I laid back and I shut my eyes and I just passed out. Like, I'm just out cold. Like, if anyone walked past, they would think I'm on like coke or meth, because I'm just passed out on like the concrete and on like the stairwell. And he comes back out with my Sprite, and he just set it on me. This is like 2 minutes later. I thought it was like 20 minutes, and he set on me, and I jumped, and I was like confused on where I was. And he was like, were you asleep? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I was asleep. And I was just like trying to play it off cool, like, since it's my first time smoking, and I'm just trying to act cool because I'm like 11 years old and shit. And so I get up and I open the Sprite, like the sound of the Sprite open, it was like some ASMR video type shit, and I opened it up, and the first sip I took, it just tasted like the best taste in my life. It tasted amazing. So we start walking back over to where we first smoked, because he had rolled another joint there after he gave me my Sprite, and he forgot his lighter over where we last smoked. So we walked back, he grabbed his lighter, but as we're walking back, I'm just looking at the trees and the surroundings, and it's just everything just looks so beautiful, and like my body just felt amazing, and I was just like, yeah, I just felt great. And so we got his lighter, he sparked up another one, and we started smoking, and I was like trying to go play some basketball, and he's like, yeah, let's go play some basketball. So we get there to the YMCA. It's like a 10-minute walk back, so we smoked another joint on the way back, and we got 2 balls. We checked out 2 balls from the YMCA. We went into the gym, and we started to play, and we were just shooting hoops a little bit. I wasn't making anything because I'm zooted as fuck. I'm like still confused on where I am and shit. But then like I just snap back into reality and I shoot a few more shots, and then I just go and sit down on the benches because I'm not really feeling it. Like I'm not making any shots or anything. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna just go sit down for a little bit. So he comes and sits next to me. We're just listening to some music, and he's just like, okay, so when do you have to go? And I'm like, yeah, my mom's gonna pick me up in like 20 minutes. And I'm like, do you think I'll be sober by then? He's like, yeah, you'll probably be sober by then. And I'm like, okay. So I trusted him because like I've never smoked weed before. He's been smoking weed for a while. He was like 2 years older than me or something like that. And we're just sitting there waiting for my mom to come pick me up. When my mom picked me up, she met him. She's like, yeah, he's a nice kid. And he had taken eye drops. I hadn't taken any eye drops because like I thought it was gonna be like when you get your eyes dilated when you go to the fucking eye doctors, and I didn't like that feeling at all. So I was like, nah, bro, I'll be fine. So I get in the car and I sit behind my mom, and I'm just dripping sweat because of like how zooted I am. I'm just so beyond fucked up, and I'm just sitting there, and we start driving down the road to get out of the neighborhood. Once we get out of the neighborhood, we're driving down this road, and it's a road that we drive down every day after she picks me up from school, but we're just driving down, and for some reason I'm just like, wow, everything just looks so beautiful. And so I'm just staring out the window, and I said, hey mom, you ever realized how beautiful the trees are? She goes, what? And I said, never mind. And so I leaned back in my seat and I just closed my eyes, and I wasn't like gonna fall asleep or nothing, and I just needed to blink and shit. So I just closed my eyes, and right as I opened my eyes, like 5 seconds later, we're already in the garage at my house. And this is like a 10-15 minute drive, and I'm like, are we at home already, mom? And she's like, yeah. And so I'm like, okay. We got in the house, and while I was quote unquote playing basketball, she had done some laundry for me, and it was just sitting on the dining room table, like in the laundry basket still. And she's like, hey, can you fold it and bring them to your room? And I'm like, yeah. So I start folding like the first shirt, or the first like pair of pants, and right as I start folding it, I set my head down on the dining room table and I passed out. Next thing I know, I wake up in my room, and this is like 3 hours later. I had just straight up just passed out cold on that dining room table. And she was at the store at the time, and when she got back from the store, she's like, oh, you're finally awake. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, you've been sleepwalking. Because I had a big tendency of sleepwalking, which I can tell that in other stories, but I was already really tired from the night before because I had a bunch of friends over after my football game, and they spent the night at my house, and we were all sleeping, or we didn't sleep at all. We were awake all night, and we pulled an all-nighter, and so I'm already really tired. And I was like, yeah, I'm just tired because of the night before, and then I had my football game, and then I just played basketball today and shit, so I just took a nap. And she's like, well, you were sleepwalking around the house. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, how do you think you got to your room? And I'm like, I don't know, I thought like you put me there or something. And so she pulls out her phone, and she just shows me pictures. She had like 8 or 10 pictures or something like that. And the first picture was me on top of the clothes on the dining room table, just drooling on the clothes, passed out. The next picture was me crawling up the stairs, which is like, I don't know how I got there. I just sleptwalk over and I started crawling up the stairs, and I fell asleep on the stairs. The next picture of me was like, I was on the desk up in the loft area that we had upstairs. So I had managed to crawl my way all the way upstairs, all the way through the loft to the desk, and I got into the chair and passed out on the desk, which I don't remember any of this. I just remember falling asleep on the dining room table, waking up in my bed. And the next picture, or it was a video she showed me, it was her saying my name, and I wasn't responding because I was sleepwalking to my bed. The bed I had at the time was like, it was like the bed where you have to climb the ladder to get up top, and like under there's a desk. And she had recorded a video of me climbing up the ladder while I'm still passed out and just passing out in my bed. And I was just so confused on how I got there. And so I woke up and I didn't know what to think. So after she showed me this, I'm like, I can't believe I did that. And I'm just thinking of like I was like thinking if I was still high and like this was just a dream or something, because this was the first time I smoked, and I didn't know if I was gonna have like dreams about it or any of that, because I had never smoked before. And I pretty much just told her that I was really tired from the night before and the day before and the long day I had today, and she believed it. I didn't get caught, and I don't know how she didn't see how bloodshot my eyes were when I got into the car ride home, and when we got home. But yeah, that was pretty much the story of the first time that I smoked weed. If you guys like this video, just feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It really helps, as I said earlier. And yeah, just stay safe.